Hi.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Great to
Yeah,
see you.
since we last talked, last time I even saw you in person was the Diamante show in upstate New York.
Yeah, I think that was in 2019. I
Yeah, like,
remember it was really cold near the
hmm
end of the tour. Yeah.
it was very cool. That was a great venue, though. And you guys did amazing.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
stellar. That was an awesome show. I got to see Dre shred in person. He didn't miss a note. He was super excellent. So I see some friends tuning in. We're gonna get right into it, and we're gonna ask Dre some questions here. So tell me about the Prince's custom build that you got to play. Kind of ease into the interview a little bit. It has some fancy name, but I didn't want to mispronounce it. But tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to look up the pronunciation as well when I did the video because you
Crazy.
know how fickle the guitar community can be if it's not correct. So it's Auerswald. Jerry Auerswald is a German luthier who did the original custom build cymbal guitars for Prince, but kind of seeking a domestic option in the U.S. to tour with. He tapped into his guitar techs as well as Schecter to create some touring models that he used for the next decade or so. So Schecter has three at their showroom that they built for him in the 90s and early 2000s. And I got to do a tour and check them all out and play one in the video. So super epic. My grandmother was a huge Prince fan, so that was kind of like a cool full circle moment
Dude,
to
that's
play
quite
that guitar. Yeah,
that must have been like mind blowing for her too, that you got to like play one of these signature ones. That's awesome.
yeah, it was super rad.
Yeah, like the build of that. If you guys have not seen that, if you're coming from my page, definitely be sure to check out that. It's just a crazy looking guitar. It has a great tone too. And I'm pretty sure Dre took some clips of that. So let's see, just to talk about you a little tiny bit, you have a lot of success as both a musician and an actor, with over 65 million views on TikTok and more. So what advice might you have for other artists out there that are trying to put their name out there and get people to hear their music?
That's that golden question, right? That's the question everybody has.
I know, and it's
Um,
hard to give an answer sometimes because I too have been asked that question, and I'm kind of like, be yourself and just go be awkward in public. That's all I can say.
yeah, there's all of the kind of cookie cutter answers that are all actually true. You have to be authentic, you have to be consistent, you have to be persistent.
Mm,
It's funny, like the more that you work in the industry, the more you realize that all of the cliches that like your parents or your teachers or whoever like told you when you were younger, all that stuff is true, but you still have to learn through your experience. Um, so with TikTok and with music, you know, it's it's easy to get discouraged. And I would encourage everybody to, do be consistent and persistent. Absorb as much as you can. And when it comes to your music, be really honest with yourself. And I think this is the hardest thing for creators and artists and musicians in general. But it's crucial, right? Like I take a lot of inspiration from athletes, and athletes have a very disciplined work ethic and mentality. And even after a good performance, like a big win, right? The team will go back to practice and look at the things they could have improved, right? They could win 50-0, and they're still going to go back and look at the mechanics or the play that didn't go right, or maybe how they could have won 60-0. Like there's always a learning experience in there. So be really honest. Like sometimes something doesn't hit. Sometimes something needs some improvement. Sometimes you just have to keep doing what you're doing. Another cliche, but
yeah.
be honest and really understand, like, what am I bringing to the table here, right? And what do people want from me as an artist? And that's the question a lot of us tend not to ask. We just put stuff out there and then go, oh, I don't know why this didn't go, or why somebody didn't, this didn't get a lot of streams, or maybe this video didn't get a lot of views. Like it's still a business, and if you're, you have to bring a product that is valuable to people. Whether that's your music, how that makes people feel, or if you're teaching, if you're providing advice or something, like really understand what you bring that's valuable and then lean into that, right? And then that's when the persistence and the consistency and everything else comes in, because then it's like a symbiotic thing with your fans, right? Like you're creating and you're giving something to them that matters, you know, something that's valuable to them.
Product that's valuable to them and that they can provide meaning to. But also, I really like what you said about, you know, kind of comparing musicians to athletes a little bit, because I've always kind of said that, like, we are athletes at the end of the day, and it's awesome to like draw inspiration from them too, because it's a lot of hard work, you know, up there and shredding, and it can certainly feel like being an athlete, and it is. Certainly.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, but got to be honest, you know, keep putting stuff out there, see what works and what doesn't, and especially with TikTok too. I've noticed, you know, it's different from other platforms, but you've definitely harnessed that for sure, and you've been doing super great. So I'm pretty
Thanks.
want to talk about the Jared Shred collab. That's super
Yeah.
exciting. It's coming up. So you landed a spot on the roster. Woo! Congrats. Which
Thank
is
you very much.
cool. Tell me about the guitar that you're using for the collab. And if you have it, that's cool. But if you don't, no worries. Just like tell me about the model and everything.
Yeah, I do have it here. You were kind enough to prep me on this part of the interview, so I laid it out. Here,
Yeah.
I'll scoot back so you can see it. So this is my my Schecter Solo 2 Custom.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. And you actually may have seen me using this on the road in 2019.
Looks
I have two of these, like an A and a B. The other one's over there. I customized these with the rhinestones, so those are not stock on the guitar. But
custom.
I love this guitar. I got two of these from Schecter when we first started working together in 2019, and toured with these guitars so that whole year. Did play tons of shows with these. They're so durable, which is like really what I was looking for in my guitars. I have, you know, obviously my sort of museum pieces that are really beautiful guitars that I use at home and to record, but that really weren't holding up on the road anymore. And to be honest, I didn't want to take the risk, you know, taking some of those guitars out on the road. So I needed something that I could, and I felt comfortable just leaving in the trailer on a cold night in a hotel parking lot. I wasn't worried, you know, if it was going to break or get stolen or anything. Like,
I can be mad. Yeah.
yeah, and Schecter had these guitars, and this is the body shape that I feel most comfortable with, like the Les Paul body shape. So this was like the only guitar they were making in that shape at the time. Maybe still are, but don't quote me on that. So this has a satin finish as well, which is really unique. I don't know if you can see it in the
Oh,
shot there, but it's
I bet it's much like more awesome in person even. But yeah,
yeah,
definitely
it's
see that and finish and everything. It's pretty dang awesome.
yeah, it's not quite matte. It's totally unique. I hadn't seen a guitar like this before. I love it. It sounds great. It looks great. It's light enough compared to some of my other guitars, and it has this really cool cutaway in the back, so you have, you know, ease of access to the upper register there, which is good for me to shred.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Always good to kind of get up there, and sometimes like on some guitars it can be a little tiny bit tough. A
Yeah,
little.
yeah. I need to be able to get that big boomer bend on the 22nd fret. You know.
Hell yeah! That like I don't know. I don't have many guitars right now. I have a Sawtooth, which is really a nice guitar, and then an SG, an Epiphone SG. But I don't know. That one's a little bit hard to set up. The neck dive is a little bit much. So I don't know.
hmm
Into Schecter for that. And again, I see some familiar friends tuning in. I do take one or two supporter questions during these interviews because these are a bit shorter. So if you would like, just type away in the comment section, or I believe there is a questions tab. Just putting that out there if anybody has questions for Dre. So what was your process for writing your solo on the Jared collab, or are you still writing it right now?
No, so I already submitted it actually a couple weeks ago.
That's
Um,
okay.
so yeah, I mean, my general process for doing a solo is that I love to get the track into my session. I kind of have like a couple reference tones that I feel comfortable with, saved as presets. So I bring that up. I don't like to waste time like messing around with a lot of knobs, and I want to jump in. I want to play it. I don't want to like waste my creativity on the creative juice I have on tweaking things yet. So I usually just throw an easy tone up there, threw it in there. There were like a bunch of different tracks to choose from, and some leaning really heavy, others kind of a little more melodic. I chose something in between that had like some cool syncopation, and the progression was like very familiar. It's that kind of like Iron Maiden 1-6-7 minor, E minor thing, which is like come on, we've all been shredding in E minor since we started. That's like home
Yeah,
base. So I was like, let's go.
one of the
Um, yeah, so that's the track I chose. I threw the tone up there and just jumped in. And usually what I'll do is I'll just loop. I'll loop it and I'll improvise, for a while, maybe like 8, 10, 12 takes, just improvising, letting it flow. And then I'll take a pause. I'll go back. I'll listen to everything I did and kind of start to pull like the things that I like the most, maybe refine some of it, maybe move some things around. And then once I've kind of constructed, solo with a nice arc, I'll go back and I'll nail it as like, a complete take, to make sure that it has the right feel and, the execution and everything. So that's kind of my process in general. And that's what I did with the Jared video.
awesome. So you kind of
Yeah.
like improvise a little bit first, multiple takes, and then like listen back with fresh ears to pick what you liked and then refine it, go back and record is kind of the summary of
Yes.
this, I guess.
Yes. I like to use the technology to my advantage without using it as a crutch.
Yeah,
Right. So like, I love the ability to comp and have everything on a playlist so I can A/B the ideas and go back and, craft a really cool solo. But then I also like, the artifacts and the things that come from like doing it live, and like re-recording the whole thing as like, a through composed solo at that point. Cause then sometimes some unexpected things happen, or you
right.
get like some cool harmonics somewhere, and I like that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure that I keep the energy, but it's also tight.
Yeah, we call those happy accidents, I guess. Like, when you run into something that you did, like you didn't really mean to do, but it actually ends up being super dope on recording.
It's
That can
like Bob Ross. There's no mistakes, just happy little accidents.
very true. It's very shout out to the soul of Bob Ross.
He's been inspiring me recently. I've been sometimes watching it like at night, and he'll
Really?
go like, yeah. Sometimes I love how he goes like, all right, we got to make some big decisions now. He's like, it's time to make a big decision, and he's really decisive when he's painting, right? He's like, all right, yep, just put it on there, like put the mountain, put the trees on the canvas. I think that's a good metaphor for music too. Like you can't. There's so many possibilities, right? Sometimes you just got to make the decision. You got to Bob Ross and make a decision.
Yeah, right on. You got to Bob Ross it no matter what, even if you do art. Or, I mean, obviously if you do art, and even if you do guitar. Yes. No
Yeah.
matter. I have one more question for Dre, everybody. I have maybe 2 or 3 questions in the tab. So,
Awesome.
what listeners expect from you after the Jared Dines collab is released? Do you have any up and coming band projects or solo projects? Like, what's going on in the world of Dre right now?
Yeah. Thank you. So I have a guitar ebook that I'm working on right now that I'm going to release soon.
Yep.
It's gonna have like 30 of my favorite licks, with tabs and notations and examples and everything. I have a Discord server that's up and running now, with room for people to join in and share, their favorite licks and talk about guitar, music theory, music business. I believe the link should be in my bio if anyone wants to pop over there and become a member.
I
And sorry.
I might.
Yeah, come on over, come hang.
Yeah.
That's a new thing, so I'm super excited about that.
No, I'm trying to learn new shit because I I just feel like I'm gonna take a gigging hiatus for like the month of March and just learn a bunch of licks. Just try to, nail some stuff down.
Yeah, that was kind of the inspiration behind doing the book. you know, I wanted to do a guitar book for a while, but it, you know,
Mhm.
doing a whole book, you know, teaching a complete technique or course, it's there's a lot of those out there. And I found that when I was younger and I was, you know, just jumping in and trying to learn stuff, I would skip through the videos and skip through the books to find like the cool licks because, you know, that's what I wanted to learn. So it's kind of like a picture book, right? I was like, why not just make a book that's like hot licks, you know, like learn the licks and you can just take them and then, you know, make them your own, incorporate them into your, you know, soloing or your improvisation. But kind of just like straight to the point, like here's some cool licks. This is
Yeah.
the book for you if you don't want to like dive in and, you know, go through like a 2 hour long, you know, here's how we now let's tune up together and here's the, you know, which I
Yeah.
love. Like I there's so much value in that too. But I thought it would be cool to do a book that's just like, let's learn some licks and, you know, you can pick it up for 5 minutes and learn something new and then go on, you know?
That's awesome. And that's like how a lot of players prefer to learn is just visual, look at it, straight to the point, play it, make it your own, you know. And that's awesome. So I'll definitely look into that. Thank you for telling everybody about that. We'll definitely check it out and note it on my story afterwards. I did see a question that said, what record do you have now? Like what are you listening to, I guess? Or who's your favorite band at the moment?
Oh wow, that is a great question.
It's always
This
tough.
is it's always tough because nowadays like you have to open your Spotify library to see what you've been listening to.
Yeah.
Uh, there's this band called Flip Turn that's really cool that I actually just saw the other night at the Basement East in Nashville. They're kind of like an indie band, but they have like three guitars and they do like really really cool guitar stuff. Um, I'm always listening to a lot of diverse stuff, a lot of hip hop, a lot of jazz, a lot of pop. You know,
Nice.
I'm I'm a music fan, but I filter everything through being a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't really discriminate like what kind of style I like. It's just like I'll just go through a bunch of playlists to try and stay like as connected with what's going on in music as possible. But yeah, I saw that band the other night. They were super cool, and definitely check them out. Flip Turn, one word.
Flip turn.
Yeah.
Very noted. Flip turn, everybody. And Mr. underscore nobody, 89N,
Oh wait, I
says,
actually have. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
he says, yeah, are you like looking up what you were talking about?
Yeah, I realized I had my phone here, and I was just gonna look at my songs.
Oh, dude,
Uh,
yeah, he was
Kane
just
Brown
bars heavy.
had a.
That's the question.
Sorry, go ahead. You
He was
go
like,
say that one more time.
bar heavy. I saw a question that said that skimming through. He just
Yeah,
asked,
super guitar heavy. Um, yeah, my last like 10 songs are Saint Vincent, Blackpink, Kane Brown, Ozzy,
yeah,
Fletcher, The Velveteers, ASAP Ferg,
yeah,
um, Post Malone, Maggie Rogers, Halsey, Harry Styles. That's kind of where I'm at, all
dude,
along the spectrum.
you have a great mix, great ear. Great ear for sure. I mean, those are all great artists. I'm Blackpink is sick, and
So sick.
some of the beats that they use, I can tell there's like Phrygian stuff going on, and it
Oh
could even
yeah.
really cool guitar cover. Actually,
Mr. Nobody asked any Kendrick, and yes, I've been obsessed with the last like four Kendrick albums, and I would really advise guitar players in general, or any rock musician, but specifically guitar players, to listen to, you know, hip hop, instrumental jazz, and lift the phrasing. Like borrow ideas for your phrasing and your rhythm and your timing from those genres, because that can create some really cool, unique stuff. You know, because you're not, you know, they're not thinking like a guitar player, so you can get outside the box and like try and like copy some of those rhythms that you hear in those other genres that aren't on guitar.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Polyphia's style a little bit, or their writing process. I think
Hmm.
even, I mean, don't quote me on this, I could be wrong, but I think at one point they were like playing pop songs and then like played them backwards through their DAW or whatever, and then started writing guitar parts onto that backwards pop song or hip hop song or whatever, if that
Yeah,
makes.
yeah, 100%. I've seen that video. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's like
I
really.
love that. It's such a creative way to get outside the box when you write music.
Yeah, it really is. And I personally have not listened to Kendrick's later stuff, but I will add it to the list. I definitely will. But Post Malone is sick, Halsey is sick, all that good stuff. All right. Seer, I cannot, maybe, I mean, I cannot pronounce usernames at all, so I do apologize.
Me
Seer,
on every TikTok live.
Seer Goog Moldovan says hello. Ha.
Hello.
Hello, I'm sorry for butchering your name. Very sorry about that. Well, anyways, you guys, I will say we have a few more minutes for a few more questions if anybody would like to ask another thingy. But other than that, I'm Baradine's questions. These are just like shorter to showcase some of the players that will be whittling away on that collab. So definitely go check out Dre and all of his music. Oh, and yep, I think, yep, Mr. Nobody is asking again if Prince's guitar is heavy, which I know you've probably answered that a couple times. He may have missed it.
No, I don't think I did. Yeah, it was quite heavy. It's a lot of wood, and I don't think it was designed to be ergonomic in any
It's
way.
extraordinarily abstract and beautiful, and it looks like a sculpture that could just be sitting in a museum somewhere. Absolutely
Yes.
does. Well, okay, guys. I hope you have the snazziest day, the snazziest of
Yeah.
all days. And definitely, if you're coming from my page, go check out Jay, as I said. Check out the Jaredine Shred collab, dropping on Christmas, I believe. Don't quote me on that. The JD
You,
Shred collab, Christmas.
you would probably know better than I. I don't
Well,
even know when it's coming out.
about it. So definitely stay tuned for that. And it was great talking to you.
Yeah, it was so good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude. If you're ever on tour again, just let me know. I'll come support for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks to everyone for tuning in as well.
Yeah, we'll see ya.
All right.